right. How are you doing?
I mean, I'm quoting Billie Holiday. It's summertime and the living is easy. Well, it's not summertime yet.
And I'm wearing my summer hat, by the way.
I'm just wearing my always hat. This is just, I have devolved. If you look at the start of this season to the end, I have just devolved into a hoodie wearing lump. And that is what happens when your classes are all online and you don't go to any conferences. And I'm okay with it? Question mark.
I hope you are.
I don't know. It will, we'll see how that works when I go back to having to teach in person, which I'm really looking forward to, actually.
Yeah, like it is fun.
But I don't know that I remember how to dress.
So as we are getting ready for summer, we're going to talk today on Not That Kind of Doctor, about getting ready for summer and actually being planful.
Planful, yes. I like planful.
Yes. I'm Guy Trainin. I'm a professor at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
I'm Nick Huseby. I am an expert at productive procrastination. So I enjoy anything that is planful. This whole episode is right up my alley. I'm also an associate professor of elementary literacy in education K-6.
All right.
Planful.
So what are you planning for the summer? How are you planning for summer? Because I can see that you have.
Oh yeah, I've got stuff already. So I think before we get to that, let's talk some pragmatics, right?
All right.
Because if you are an academic or if you are a grad student, depending on your contract or your course load or what have you, summer's really your time.
Yes.
Right? So unless you are teaching, I have a summer class this summer. So when I'm teaching, that's no longer my time. I'm getting compensated for that. So I need to treat that like work. I know you're on like 80 gazillion research grants. Yes. So like, I don't think you have any summer.
No, not
in
really.
My head.
I have maybe 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah. So you better plan for that 2 weeks and get all of it in.
Yes.
But
that's a different plan.
Right, but if you're a grad student and you don't have classes, you don't one of the important things to remind ourselves is that in order for us to do our best thinking, we have to have downtime.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, we have to have time to explore and play with ideas, and summer, based upon the academic calendar, is a really good time and space to do that. So just keeping that in mind, that it is important to have unstructured time to play with ideas, to play with stuff. And that goes for grad students, that goes for faculty. This is essential to kind of the work that we do and our ability to be thinking and reading different stuff that we're not familiar with. So keeping that in mind, that when we talk about summer, there's often times in academia this I'm going to get so much done during the summer. Yes. I'm going to get the bare minimum done during the summer.
Yes.
I'm going to get the bare minimum done during the summer. Why? Because I am not on contract for a good portion of that summer. And 2, I want to give myself some time and space to think about some stuff where I don't have time constraints, where I don't have the pressure of everything else.
And conversely, it has impact back on your academic year. Because if you are throughout your academic year saying, I know I'm not getting anything written now, but in the summer I will get it all done, that's a recipe for disaster because you do need the downtime. It is impossible to write in concentration. You need to stretch that out. We talked about this. So partially, it is also about thinking about most of my work has to happen during the academic year. And if it's not, then I'm not really apportioning my time correctly. And that's creating a problem. And so I need to think about how do I work throughout the academic year so I don't end up with all of this pressure of I need to do a full years of writing and research in the summer when I'm actually off contract, and I need to also have downtime because those things do not mesh well, and it puts tremendous pressure that leads to
burnout, stress,
and also feeling unhappy. When the new year starts, you're unhappy because you didn't reach your goals. for the summer because you had unrealistic goals for the summer because
Mhm.
you didn't apportion your time during the academic year. So it's all part of the package, and you have to think about it that way. So even if you put, because we're putting this out just before summer, if you put all of that pressure on you during the academic year, let go some of it and know that the summer is not the solution for all of your problems.
Yes. No, the summer is not a solution, right? And maybe in season 3, we can do an episode about apportionment and time management.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we often talk about, when we talk about apportionment, we tend to talk about like, 25%, 10%. None of it matters unless you attend to the denominator.
Yes.
How many hours a week do you expect?
Yeah. And that, by the way, goes back to summer. How many
totally.
hours are you going to work during the weeks you are off?
Right.
Because imagining that you're going to work 60 hours a week when...
I'm sorry.
This is my life. We're talking about... We are laughing about my life. But in the summer, it's not going to happen. Yes. But in the summer... during the academic year, but definitely during the summer, your day is going to look different. And if you permit yourself to plan for a smaller number of hours, but then focus on those hours, you can get a lot done. But you've got to be, again, that goes back to being planful and not just saying it's going to be okay. And then...
Yeah, because I mean, if you go into it just going, it's going to be fine, July 4th is going to hit and you're going to be like, oh, crud. Because by the time July 4th hits, you have to prep for your fall class. Or if you're me, who is teaching those last 5 weeks, I have to prep for my fall class now.
Yes.
Or else I'm not going to have it later. Right? Like, so any changes in that class, I have to pay attention to now before summer even hits, because I have to use that first half of summer to revise for the second half of summer. So like, you have to do some of that planning if you have all these various bits and bobs going on, but also just recognizing that like, in order to have, I mean, it would be easy for me to be like, oh, the first half of summer, I'm just not going to work at all. But there are certain parts of my job that I find pleasurable. There are certain things that I actually want to engage in my off time. Should that be expected? No. But I'm going to do it because it does bring me some happiness, right? So when we're thinking about being planful, talk me through how you're planful, Guy.
Well... in my case, so our summers are very different. This is my 22nd year, and this is my 22nd summer. The only
summer... So you started when you were 10?
Yes, just about.
Wow.
And the only summer that I had a significant time off was the summer I graduated from, I left graduate school and moved here. I have always taught in the summers. This is I don't think I can remember a summer I never taught. But for example, I choose to teach only in the first summer session. So we have kind of 3 blocks to summer. We have a 3-week and then 2 5-weeks. I have always taught, except one time I made the mistake of teaching the session you're doing. And that was not helpful because then I was teaching all the way to the beginning of the semester and then teaching again. And that felt just interminable. So I've always sequestered my teaching to the first summer session. So I have the 3 weeks between the end of the semester and the beginning of our first formal summer session. And I always take that time, and I take some of that time actually off campus. And I'm away from work, which is rare for me. And then I fit grant activities and other things around that time with some downtime. And especially the July into August part has a lot more time off, and I tend to work mornings, whether I'm here in Nebraska or I choose to go somewhere. I work in the morning, and then the afternoons are mine. So, and I have check-ins with collaborators once a week to see that there's progress being made, because going back to the 4th of July kind of thing, this is my thinking as well. If I haven't started it, or I'm not well on my way and I have a plan by the 4th of July, it's just not going to happen this summer.
Yeah.
And so those are the pieces that I have in place to make sure that summer is productive. I don't make myself any promises. I have 3 or 4 goals for the summer. I have a writing goal on 1 or 2 manuscripts. There's a teaching, and then there's reporting and the grant activities that I have that have to happen during the summer. But again, for me, this is structured paid time. This is not, if I was on time off, I would be, most of that time would be off.
Playing video games on Twitch.
I think sitting down and not doing that. Spending time with my dogs.
I would like to see that. I've never seen you not a ball of energy, and I have questions.
Oh, okay. Puzzles help calm me
Okay.
down. Puzzles are a big thing during the summer.
This is good to
Winter
know.
break and summer. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
It feels like I need a Richard Attenborough voiceover. This is the guy training, relaxing.
Rest. Yes. Well, there's a
It's a
book.
very rare
I listen to a book and I do a puzzle, and yeah, that I can do that for quite a few hours.
Okay.
Yeah. The Churchill biography went that way. All 57 hours of it.
Oh. I'm going to read The Power Broker this summer, and I'm not looking forward to it, but I am. But I'm not.
Okay.
It's like, it's a thick boy.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
All right.
I'm a little bit more structured.
Yes. Nobody's surprised at this point. If they've seen even one more episode or listened to one more episode of this podcast, they know that you have a spreadsheet or a table. So here is the table.
Yeah. So this has actually been really, really helpful for this particular summer, because I was like, summer, I'm going to have so much summer. So I laid out kind of my overarching goals. I can walk you through this. I'll have a link to a blank one in the episode description. I've laid out kind of my writing goals for the summer, and kind of the amount of time that I'm willing to spend kind of on that, in terms of like,
And it says
during the
writing
week?
5 hours a week.
5 hours a week. When I'm not on contract, 5 hours a week, which, you know, is a fair amount of time.
Yes.
That's like an hour a day.
Yeah.
You know, you wake up,
Yeah.
have your cup of coffee, you work on a draft for a little while, and then you go like tend your tomatoes. Or you
Which
go,
are also written as a goal.
which is also a goal. So I've got reading as well, 5 hours a week. I want to do a deeper dive into, I did lots around knowledge work last summer, and I really want to focus specifically in on how we move knowledge from, or information from reading into knowledge, into long-term knowledge this summer. So I've been building up a list of things that I'm gonna tackle and read. And then I've just got some personal stuff that I want to tackle. I've got a quilt that I've been working on for like 5 years now that needs to be done this summer. Like I need it to be done. It's like a Mortal Kombat moment. I just need to finish it. And that's going to happen this summer. Hold me to it. I've got some knitting projects that I want to finish. My garden is up and running already. I want to be doing all the canning, all the growing, all the watering. This is my year of James Baldwin, so I'm going to get 3 more books.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to, by the
fantastic.
end of the year, I'll have read everything that James Baldwin has written, which makes me, or books that James Baldwin has written, and that makes me very, very happy. So I'll get 3 of those done. I want to continue running 6 days a week and weight training 3 days a week.
So I do want to stop here and say that while I am not quite as planful as you, I do think that the lesson that I've learned over time is, if you do not plan this, it's likely not going to happen. So if you do not write it down and say, these are the things I want to do. Now, if you want to not get anything done, that's also achievable, right? But if you don't make a plan, if you have a goal, but you don't have a plan, right, it's not going to work out. And summer is prime for that, because nobody's going to the office. You have no classes, unless you're on contract for part of it, but you have no classes that force you to show up or to do certain things. And then you find yourself like, I would rather do other things. And that's fine if you didn't have a goal. And that's going to make you feel guilty. You don't want to finish the summer feeling guilty. So make reasonable goals and then have a plan for them. If not, just let go. And that's okay too. You're not on contract. You can let go. And everybody's got to be okay with it.
And here's what I find to be really helpful, or this was really helpful for me this year, is lay your stuff out week by week.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I've got my goals here. I've laid out week by week what I'm going to try to get done in each of those weeks, in each of the amounts of time that I have. And this was particularly helpful because I realized that I've got a trip this summer. And that trip is going to take about 5-ish weeks out of play.
Oh, wow. That's a chunk.
It's a chunk. And so in my head, I was like, oh, I've got a trip. But then when I looked at actually what got left after I took out that trip, like I really had to go back and rethink what I wanted to get done. Like this is whittled down.
Let's be realistic about
And then even what's here, you'll notice that there's some color coding. No one is surprised. Where I've kind of determined some importance. Like these are the things that I really want to get done. Those are the red.
Yeah.
Am I right here? Red and yellow is medium importance. So if I like get those red things done, then I can move on to the yellow, and then I can move on to the blue.
I'm a huge fan, especially when you're talking about your writing projects. You want to bring a few writing projects to fruition and not try to jump between 7 different projects or whatever you have and never finishing anything. So this is an opportunity because you can concentrate some time. This is an opportunity to actually choose one and finish it and then maybe go to the next one instead of working on 5, which took me a long time to understand. I'm looking at your table and I'm like, yeah, I need to do that because I have
guilt.
Yeah,
guilt.
No, not guilt. I'm having enough brain space to think about it because I've got 2 weeks I'm teaching. We've got morning to evening. Those 2 weeks are dead. I'm teaching. I'm spending a lot of time with a research team, but that's it. I've got a period where I have a review. I'm a guest editor, so we have to review some abstracts. I've got to put some time on my calendar for that. I've got 2 conferences I'm going to at the end of June and in July. So those dates are off the table. So and that just leaves you with, what do I need to prepare for next year? Where does it happen? What can I accommodate that? And how do I, because in my case, because I have a few grants, I have a few graduate students who are working on these grants, how can I make sure that I set them up for success without needing me all the time? So things can get done. I check in with them, but they are not constantly waiting for me to pick my head out of everything I'm doing or using vacation time to do that because I don't want to do that. And so I'm definitely going to lay out my weeks and start thinking through what needs to happen when.
Yeah, and it's really helpful in terms of what can I actually get done?
Yeah.
And things
What's reasonable?
What's reasonable? Things could happen. And I've really got 3 different manuscripts that I'm working on here, 2 of which are pieces that I've been working on for a while. I dropped them for a while, and this is the summer that I'm going to pick them back up and actually get them in ship shape and send them out. So also thinking about, because oh my gosh, 3 manuscripts, it's a lot in a summer, but keeping in mind that 2 of those manuscripts are pretty much 80% done at this point. I'm going to have to re-update the literature review, possibly do some reanalysis, but that's not as much as if I'm starting fully from scratch.
Yeah, that's a different project altogether.
Yeah, that's a totally different project altogether. So those are the kinds of things that I was thinking through and about when I was planning this. And this summer feels like, because of how much time I have available to me, feels like a good summer to engage in getting those out.
Yeah.
And then if I have time, finish up or work on a chapter that I have to get written, but there's no real timeline set to it yet. And then start prepping some data to set myself up for analysis in the fall when that comes back. So it really just helps me think through what is it that I can be doing in these little chunks of time that isn't going to be completely overwhelming and annoying. And also, like I said, within the planning, I've kind of determined some importance. So if something doesn't get done, I just shift it around.
And a few things that are small but important. So have a plan. The other thing is, if you're away or if you do not plan to do any work, please make sure that you have on your email, on your official email box, the auto response that says, I'm away for the summer, or I'm away for this period from this date to this date. And please contact me after if you need anything urgent. Here's the email of our office. Please reach out to them, because graduate students may reach out, undergraduate students who are concerned about a grade or something else, or whatever, whoever it may be. You don't want them to feel like they didn't get a response. And so that auto response serves as, I'm sorry, I'm not going to get back to you. I'm in Europe until this. You don't have to say you're in Europe, but I'm away until that time. Again, this is, if you're off contract, you're off contract. You do not owe anybody anything. And so use that, but also communicate that clearly so people don't feel like they're expecting a response from you. For example, international students may not know that this is a 9-month contract, but they also don't know when does school start and end, because in much of Europe and in many other places in the world, the school calendar is very different. They start in October or September and go till June, and don't necessarily have our calendar that seems to have shifted earlier and earlier, where we start in mid-August, but also end in early May, sometimes, first week of May. So they still think everybody's here. Well, nobody's here. So that communication is really, really important. And if you work with graduate students, communicate very clearly what your expectations are for the summer and how you communicate, so they don't get frustrated. And so it's clear. And again, if you're on contract, you can say, contact me when I'm teaching, because that's when I'm on contract. You can contact me, but outside those times, I will not be available until mid-August. Then that's fine. Again, clarity.
Right.
In communication.
Right. Clarity. Boundaries are fine.
Yes.
Right. Boundaries are totally fine. What are you looking forward to this summer?
Well, I'm going to get the grandbaby, so I am focused on being a grandpa. That is really my primary goal for the summer. Everything else, grants, teaching, all of that is not where I'm at. We have a due date of June 10th. Obviously, it's plus minus whatever is going to happen. And that is the main event of the summer. Everything else can get canceled as far as I'm concerned. I'll be fine.
That's
yes.
That's what you want.
That is what I want. That is my future orientation. And I have potentially a busy summer, but that is secondary.
Just you talking in general about your summer makes me tired.
Yeah. I love summer. I have my best ideas in summer. I love teaching in summer because I do a workshop style where we stay with the students all day. And so it's an opportunity. It's a thinking lab for me because I have a problem with focusing. So it forces me to focus on the same thing. We've known this. Just like we know you plan everything, we know I have a problem focusing. So it forces me to be focused. And I have some fantastic ideas when I spend a lot of time with people. Just that idea generation. Well, I've had most of my best ideas happened over summers. My best research ideas. It doesn't mean I enact them in the summer, but I start sprouting ideas in the summer. And because people are there all day, we can have in this summer for 2 weeks, but I've had 5 weeks, in summer teaching, where you can roll with the ideas with people a number of times until it comes to a nice little package. So
nice.
I do enjoy that very, very much. So it is busy, but busy good, and very different than the academic year where we have chunks of time. So the summer for me is still work mostly, but it's with blocks of time. And that just functions differently. I love both,
Right.
but it just functions differently for me. And so I'm able to, for example, if I teach the same thing that I teach through an academic year, I can make much better curricular decisions for next time, even for an academic year calendar, based on that concentrated time in the summer, because then I'm thinking about that class every day.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of thinking about it, thinking about 17 other things, thinking about it.
The continuity makes
Yeah.
a difference.
And also the fact that, I mean, I'll be honest, there's very little service over the summer. Even if you are on contract, that contract is very clear. You're either doing research for a grant or you're doing teaching. So that service elements and the committees and all that, that's all gone.
Mhm.
So you have more control over your time. I mean, you always have control over your time, but you're managing different expectations because part of our, at least at UNL, we're 20%, most of us are 20% service, which is fairly high. So because that comes to 8 hours a week. That
Assuming
is
a
a
40-hour
lot of
work
hours.
week.
Yeah.
But those 8 hours get
Dispersed and
sucked up really
Yeah.
easily,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes, definitely.
that's the black hole category.
But it also chunks your time into pieces because it's often like 1 hour meetings and all
Mhm.
that. Think about 8 1-hour meetings. Suddenly it can eat your week. So it is about management.
Yeah. Oh, it's totally about management. Totally about management.
All right. So we are happy about summer though.
Oh, we are very happy.
You're happy about tomatoes. I'm happy about grandbaby.
You know, I am very excited about tomatoes. I'm very excited about.
Before you start canning, I want some tomatoes. Just putting it out there.
See, if I had known that, because last year I literally had all these tomatoes and then had some stupid service-oriented report that got dropped on me at the last minute and did not have a chance to can anything. And had I known,
Tomatoes, raw tomatoes, Israeli salad, salsa,
okay, see, now I know because
tomato sauce. There's so many things to do, and I love tomatoes. So
this is good to know because that is probably one of the things I am most looking forward to is
it's the tomatoes.
my garden, my
Yeah.
tomatoes makes me feel close to my grandmother. My grandmother grew tomatoes all the time, but also excited to get away.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like
5 weeks.
Yeah, well, and so I'm gonna do a week in Michigan, 3 weeks in Europe. I am single. I have no kids. I deserve nice things too.
Yes, you do.
And then I'm gonna come back and do another week in Michigan. But I've got some new cities that I've never been to. So like Berlin,
very nice.
never been to Berlin. I'm excited about
I
Berlin.
have not either. So.
I'm gonna go to Chania on Crete
Ooh.
for a conference. So there's
That's
some work,
exciting.
work into it. And then I'm gonna get back to London, which is like my favorite city in the world. So I'm excited about that.
That's awesome.
I'm just excited about a slower kind
Pace,
of process.
yeah.
I'm also excited to read. I've got a couple of books, thick
Mhm.
boys, that I need a summer to work through because they require more time. So it's gonna be good,
All right.
I think.
Yeah.
So hold us to it.
And have a great summer.
Have a planful summer. Get stuff done,
But also have fun.
but also get stuff not done. Figure out what's most important for you and get the stuff that's most important done. Get the stuff that doesn't matter. I don't know what's happening.